Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And before we start today's tutorial, I'll first show you this one, the ADF-X01. And you may still recall when I making the tutorial of this jet, you actually found there's an Easter egg on the cover of the video. And now the Easter egg is finally here. And this is the F-15 Eagle. Let's first look at this jet. Well, you can see they have actually those realistic proportions of the real F-15 Eagle. And you can also see that these planes actually comes with some realistic features, including this fuselage section and this engine pods that are actually connected, and it also replicates the seemingly boxy shape of the F-15 Eagle's fuselage. And all these features, they're packed in one. And actually this plane shares the same base as this F-14 Tomcat that I showed you before, and actually their realism is actually at the same level. And to be honest, when making this F-15 Eagle, I would say the difficulty is actually slightly easier than the F-14 Tomcat when you actually get your hands on it. But actually when designing it, I found this one being slightly harder because these wings and the stabilizer shaping and those proportions is just a little bit harder to find those references without using a pen and ruler to mark those points and lines, and just figure it out how to make things accurate and realistic. So let's begin. So first prepare a square sheet of paper, and now it's actually some foil paper because it's going to be really complex, and some parts actually have really thick layers. And now let's start folding it. So first you fold those diagonals like so, and the other one, and then you choose one of those diagonal lines, and you fold these things up like so. Basically, you're just folding a kite base. And then you unfold it. And you do it to the other side. And then you unfold it again. And when you make one of those kite bases, and then you notice that you have this triangle shape right here, and you fold it down like so, and then you unfold these flaps out on this side, and then you notice that here are two intersections that are made from your kite bases, and then you fold this over to here, and this point actually matches up with this crease, the center crease, and then do it to the other side, and then you unfold this triangle thing here and flip it over, and then you fold this like so. Yeah, same for the other side. I don't have to explain much because yeah, this is the same as the F-14. They share the same base, and just the difference in the wing sections and the stabilizers and the afterburners, something like that. And then let's continue. So now you flip it over, and then you fold this up like so. Land this crease right here. And then you unfold it and fold the other side. And then you notice that here is an edge that can be your reference, and you fold it up like so, and same for the other side. So you fold this something that looks like a snail, and then you flip it over, and then you fold this up like so, which is actually making that this edge matches to this edge, this crease, and you land it here. and open this up, and then you flip this to this side like so, and then you pull this out, and collapse it, and then you pull this down like so, and then you notice that here is a point, and then you fold this over and make sure that it is right at this point and this line matches straight, and then you open it up like so, and you have this square thing like this right over here, and you unfold to this step, and then you flip this like so, and then you just fold this over. Yeah, they're the same like this, and then you flip it down and pull this layer down here, and you get this some sort of modified preliminary base like this one. And then you notice that here you actually have these creases, this tiny square, and then you fold this up and match this line to this center line like this, and then you do it to the other side like so, and you can take a closer look like this, and then you flip this up and create this sort of shape thing, and then you flip it over again, and you notice here is a tiny triangle and here's a line, and you fold this up like so to make a crease. After making this crease, you actually flip it over again, and then you pull this down, and notice that here is a crease, and we're going to go towards this crease and flip it over, and as you can see you have this kind of shape right here, and then you open up and collapse it like so, and then you just go ahead and collapse it and into this shape, and then you fold this down and you unfold it. After doing so, you just match this line to this line. And you do the same for the other side, like this. And then you just fold this down, collapse it, and you have this sort of shape right here. Okay, let's take a closer look. Alright, and then you have this sort of shape, and then you flip it over, and notice that here is a center crease, and you can fold it right here and make sure that this line matches with this line, and this is a vertical thing, and then you fold it over and fold it to the other side, and then you just unfold it, and then you pull this triangle thing right up to that point. Okay, you have to make sure that this actually matches up like so, and this can make the cockpit thing a lot easier. And then go ahead and move this in like so. And then you flip it over, and notice that here, this section, you fold this triangle thing up like this, and then you go ahead and pull this over, and be careful, sometimes tearing could happen in this part. and it transforms into this shape. And then you have this section you have to deal with, and then you fold this up like so, and then you do this pedal fold. After doing so, you open this up, unfold it, and then you basically just pull this little water bomb base out. Yeah, it's the same as the F-14. And I would actually spam this base for some planes that is really complicated and want to focus on some replicas. It's very useful. And then again, you fold this tip right down to there. Take a closer look. And then you sink this little tip right inside. Like so. Oops. And we are here. Okay, let's continue, and this base is actually really useful to make some replicas or some other designs. It's highly versatile. And then after doing so, you notice that this section, and you have these creases right here, and then you just follow these creases that you previously made through this intersection, and then you fold it down like this, and then you pull this over, and same for this side, and be careful. And then you just go ahead and fold this down like so. Let's see, good. You have this shape right here, and then you fold it down. And then you do it to the other side, like so. Open this up and fold it down, and then you fold this flap up. And then fold this up right here, and then fold this down. Oops, there's a little bit stuff messed up down there. Have to make sure that those lines are matched up. It's important. And fold this down. And then you notice that you have this flap over here, and you move it to here and flip it over, and you notice that here's a point, and then you fold this tip down like so. Then you unfold it and match this point right to this point to create your nose cone. After doing so, you just open this up, and then you fold it down here first, and then you fold it down again, and you just go ahead and collapse it like this. Yeah, same as the F-14. Okay, after doing so, you just have to fold this down, and then you notice that that here you have this section for intakes, but before that we are going to first fold this downward. Yeah, because I like doing so. Make sure that those edges are lined up with the creases. For example, this one to this one, and this edges to be matched up. And let's check our symmetricity. Okay, good. Let's move on. And then you've noticed that here is a free flap, like so. And you fold it down, like this. And then here is another reference. And you fold all this section down. Like so. And again, you have to make sure that your finger is right here. And this flaps, including this one, your finger should be here. Yeah, this two and this two, this three on this side and this two on this side. Your finger should be here. And same for the other side, your finger should also be here. And then you pull it down. And be careful, don't tear the paper apart. And then just go ahead and squash fold it. Oops. Ah. Come on. And then you just collapse it and make sure that this line and this line being almost straight. After doing so, you just go ahead and collapse it. And then you notice that you have this lines over here. And you fold this up like so, matching these 2 points. And you fold it up like this. And then make the creases a lot more rigid. And then you just place this ruler right here. And you match this point and this point. Yeah, using a ruler for this step actually makes things a little bit easy. It's not for measuring, but to make sure you make a straight crease. And then you just pull it like so. Straighten it out. And go ahead and collapse it. Same goes for the other side. And collapse it. Yeah, sometimes things get a little bit complex and messy. You need some tools to help you, as long as you don't cut or tape the paper. And after doing so, you just have to, you made this thing right here, and then you fold this down. And make sure that this line matches up with this line. And then go ahead and fold it down. And same for the other side. As you can see. And then you go ahead and collapse it. And then flip it over. And notice that here's a triangle, and then you fold this down. And make sure that this line and this center crease is matched up. And go ahead and notice that here's a section. And we're not going to do that first and move it down. And then you move to this side and make sure that you just wrap this over like so. And create this straight line over here. And then you should just pull it over into this sort of shape, like so. Yeah, it's the same as the F-14. And same for the other side. Just fold this up like this, and just wrap it around. And fold this down and collapse it. Okay, let's make this thing straighten out. I hope you can actually do better than me in this section. Yeah, my skills are a little bit rusty. And let's check the symmetricity. Okay, everything fine. And then let's use our tweezers to do the next step. And notice that here is a tiny flap over here. It's hidden down this section, and you can actually poke it in. Yeah, like this. And then you just have to carefully pull it out a little bit, like so. Be careful, don't tear your paper apart. And then you have this tiny bit being pulled out, and this side haven't yet. Yeah, that's the difference. So this will actually become your upper intakes. Yeah. And you do this to the other side, like so. Just carefully pull it out. And then, yeah, it should look like this. You have this two tiny triangle thing being pulled out, like so. And then let's move on to this side. And you notice that here are these two sort of things, the leading edge extensions, and we are going to modify its shape. And you fold this down right here. Yeah, you have to make sure that this line and this line are actually perfectly matched up, like this. And the same goes for the other side, like so. And then you unfold it and use the crease you made, and let's do a sink. You're just sinking this tiny triangle thing right into here, and then you collapse it like so. And same for the other side. Open this up and then sink it like this. And now let's gonna fold our wings. But before that, we just move this layer up. Yeah, this thing should be covering this thing like this. Flip this over and then flip the wings out like so. And do it to the other side. Like so, and you form this type of shape, and then you fold it down. And same for the other side. And actually, when flipping, you actually have one layer here, only one layer here, and all layers at this section. And then let's go ahead and sweep our wings. You basically just move this downward, and you have this reference point right here, and flip this down, And then after you do this swept thing, you make sure that you check this layers right here. And then you notice that you have 1, 2, 3 layers. And you are going to only to move this single layer here. And you basically just pull right at this pivot point, and you fold it, open it out, and then flip it down. And here's another reference point, that is when you actually make sure that you cross this point at this point when folding this flap down. Yeah, you have to make sure that this line directly lands on this line right here. You can take a closer look. Yeah, it's a double reference, and that's why I would say actually I found it a little bit tricky when actually designing this thing. So yeah, it's done perfect. And now let's do it to the other side. Hold this down right to that intersection, and then you fold this down, and then you pull it out, and then follow the pivot point and the other tip, fold it down, and land the edge right to that crease, like so. Then let's go ahead, fold this over, and can check the symmetricity a bit. Okay, let's move on. And after doing so, actually I suggest you do another step, and that is you unfold it again to this stage, and then you wrap this in. Make sure that this line lands on the crease you just made before, so you actually can strengthen the leading edge of the wings a little bit. And then you fold it down like so. And then you do it to the other side. Fold it and wrap it right to that point, to that crease. And then you fold it down. Oops, it's a little bit messed up. Let's do this again. And check the symmetricity. Alright, let's move on. And now you notice that here are two tiny triangles right down there, and you just have to fold it up and actually make sure that you have these line and this line being almost parallel, but not directly parallel. You have to give them some sort of a bit. And same for the other side. Like so. Check your symmetricity. And just unfold it. And notice that here is a line, and you just have to fold this up like so. Yeah, it's the same thing on my Tomcat. Similar step, although we're doing it at a different angle. And then you flip this over, and when folding this up, you actually have this pivot point right here. and then this reference edge right here, and you fold it up like so. And then collapse it. And then you do to the other side the same. And then you do a twist like this. And yeah, this is what you got. And then you check your symmetricity. Like so. And then you just have to open this up a little bit, and you fold this part right to this edge. Yeah, it should look like this. And then you just have to notice that here, this flap, you don't go directly to this point. You don't go directly. You just have to fold this down. Yeah, don't directly go to this point. You just have to fold it down. Like this. Yeah. And then you fold this over. And same for the other side. Just make sure both sides are parallel. No. Symmetrical, not parallel. Like so. And you fold it down, and let's check the symmetricity again. Yeah, let's move on. And then you just have to fold this like so, and make sure that this into this pocket. And then you fold this down like so, that you have this edge. And then you when folding it, you just directly land this edge right to this crease. And you do the same for the other side, like so. And check our symmetricity. Okay, almost there. And after you do this step, you actually have to unfold this two flaps, and then you just move it to here, and make sure, yeah, this pivot point is actually landing right at this crease, like so. And then you make sure that when folding it, you have this line over here, and this line being parallel. And you do the same to the other side. You have this point, and then you fold it down. And after doing so, you still remember that you have these creases you actually made before, and you just have to follow them and fold it up like this. And actually, you have to make sure that this line right here, and this line being parallel. And same for the other side. Let's run a symmetricity check again. Oops, let's pull this out a little bit. Well. And after you do this step right here, and you have to, let's say, fold these two flaps down, unfold it. And after you unfold it, and okay, let's take a closer look. You actually have these two edges right here that actually passing this line. And what you're gonna do is to flip this up a little bit, and it should be passing this line and like this, almost matching towards the upper part, like so. You can take some references right here. Then you flip this over. Then you fold it out. Check the symmetricity. Yeah, it should look like this, some sort of, and you just go ahead and fold them in. So, yeah, it should be like this. And then you do the same to the other side. Oops, be careful. Then collapse it, fold this in. Yeah, make sure they are symmetric. Okay. After doing so, you just have to flip it over. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Now let's fold this wingtip like this. And same for the other side. And actually, for this step, you can actually take an actual photo of an F-15 Eagle and do some references and shape it, because yeah, it's just about shaping. The overall structure is like this, and just a few details. Yeah, you just fold this tips up, and you open the wing up like so, and then you tweak this section in like this, and you do the same to the other side. So, and collapse it. Yeah, that's why I suggest you use foil paper. If you use other kind of paper, this part will just pop up. It's not gonna hold it. Okay, after doing so, let's fold our vertical stabilizers. And as you can see, you just fold this up, and you notice that here is a line. And what you're gonna do is to fold this out, swivel it, and you make sure that this line is almost vertical to this one right here. And after doing so, you just have to fold this down and create something like this, and you notice that here is an intersection that almost have this trailing edge, this point of your wing, and this leading edge of your vertical stabilizer, this point and this line. Yeah, this is a triple intersection. It should be like this. And then do it to the other side. Yeah, the things are the same. And then tweak it up a little bit. Fold it down. And same for this side. Yeah, it should look like this. And then make sure that here everything is fine. And this is your triple intersection of this, and this part being vertical. Oops, this thing just pops out. Let's place it back. Now let's make our cockpit. And you notice that here this flap, and we're just going to have to fold it right up to this part. Just match this point with this point, and then the rear part you just have to straighten it out and fold this sort of thing like so. Yeah, same for the other side. Fold it down. Oops, a little bit tricky. And after you do this step, you just have to unfold it and then wrap it around inward, so you actually have less drag in this way. Yeah, we're reducing the unwanted drag. And then you do it to the other side. Wrap it around and then fold it down like so. Then you can check your symmetricity. Okay, good. Let's move on. And then let's go ahead and make our cockpit, and then you just fold this down first. And then you match this point right at here. Like so. Oops, this part is a little bit messed up. Like this. Yeah, your point is actually right at here. And then you fold this tip up. Like so. And then poke this up. Fold it like so, and then fold this over, and then you pull this layer out and open this up and fold it down like so, and then notice this point and you fold this down like this, and make sure that this line is matched up. And then you just have to fold it in and make sure that this line and this line being matching up. This, fold it, and then you fold the other side. Like so. And then you have these 2 points right here, and you're gonna fold it up. And you do it to the other side. And then you fold it over. Pull it out a little bit. Oops, this is a little bit messed up. Let's straighten it up. Collapse it like so. You have this triangle thing right here, and do it to the other side. This point right here and collapse it out, this triangle. After doing so, you just have to fold these 2 tips in. And you get a 1/3 tip right here and fold it down like so. And then you notice that here there are 2 points, and you just follow this point and fold this down like so. And actually this line will end up landing at this line. And also this line being parallel to this one. Oops, this one it's not staying there. Then do it to the other side like so, and check the symmetricity. Good. And now let's fold this 2 down. So, and then same for this side, and then you just flip it up. Oops, we actually forgot one thing, and that is the leading edge extensions. So yeah, this is pretty simple. You just have to open this pocket up like this, and you just follow this line and then fold it over, pull it like so, and then fold it down. Yeah, that should work. And then you do it to the other side like so, and then fold it down. And then let's move and smoothen out our fuselage. So basically you just have to flip this in like so, and you do the same for the other side. After doing this step, you just have to match up both sides and check the symmetricity. Oops, this one should get in a little bit closer. Good. After you do this, you actually first need to make sure that your creases are rigid. And then you just unfold it like so, and transfer this valve fold into a mountain fold. Then do it to the other side. and check the symmetricity again. Okay, good. Now what you're gonna do is to fold these two flaps in like this, and you just move this out a little bit and land this point right to this line like so. Wait, this thing just don't, it's not that directly moving in. Okay. Let's do it to the other side. Just fold this over, and then you just land this point right to this edge. Okay, good. And make sure that you have both sides being parallel. Alright, you just move this flap up and this flap in like so, and use this charger to smash everything, collapse, and then you fold your vertical stabilizers upward like so. Same, do it for the other side. And fold it. And you still see that we have this triangular thing right in the front. What you're gonna do is to fold this in, and same for the other side, and then you flip it up like so, and fold this down. And then you're going to do it to the other side. Oops. And now let's put the nose into the nose cone. Right here, yeah. And fold this down like so. And fold this down, and then you pull it out like this. Same for the other side. And collapse it. Yeah, it should look like this. And then let's move to this section. You basically just click it down, and this, as you can see right here, you just fold it down and then make sure that it's like this. Yeah, this this line directly crosses this point. Have this sort of zigzagging shape, and then the same for the other side. Just make sure both sides are parallel. Good. Let's check the symmetricity. Okay, good. Let's move on. and then you just fold this over right at this point and this point. Fold it down like so. And same for the other side. Yeah, make sure both sides are symmetrical. And after you do this, you just have to fold this in and make sure that this line lands with this crease. And fold it in like so, and same for the other side. Like so. Fold it again. Yeah, crease it. And then you notice that here is a point, and here is another thing you can see here, and you just go ahead and fold it in. And move it down. Good. And same for the other side. You just sharpen your nose. So. And you fold it down and strengthen your crease like that. Then you fold this up. Same for the other side. And let's do some reference creases for the intake section. First off, basically just follow this edge and this edge and fold it up like so. Same goes for the other side. Let's see, yeah, it should be like this. And you open this up, and then you fold this, and make sure that this line lands right here. Same for the other side. And then you just fold it in again. Make sure that this line lands on this crease like so. And same for the other side. And after doing so, you have these two flaps right here, and you fold it down. Follow this, some sort of thing, and then fold it down like this. And same for the other side. After doing so, you just have to, let's see, that you have some sort of intersection here, and then you just do some parallel folding so you can make the wrapping process a lot easier, like so. Same for the other side. You unfold it, this intersection, and then this, fold some and make sure they parallel with this line. Okay, open it up, and it's jet folding time. Let's first pile this up, and then fold this in, and then use the table to help you jet fold. And you should be actually a little bit away from this point for a jet fold. You can have some reference here like this. Then the rest, you just have to make sure that the rear part is parallel so. Yeah, this you should have to make being parallel. It's important. And fold this down. Same for the other side, like so. And then just have to go ahead and fold it down. Fold this down right here. Same for the other side. Just be careful. Good. Should look like this. And take our charger and make sure that it's a lot more rigid. And then you fold up your wings like so. Same for the other side. And the rear part is actually a little bit flattened out. It's a table again, and then basically the front. Yeah. And notice that here are two little tips. I suggest you actually fold them in like this. Same for this side. And then you fold it in. Let's make the nose a little bit more rounded. So, let's lock our wing. Let's lock the plane. So basically you just have this little flap right here, and then you open it up, and then just flip it in. Can be a little bit tricky. Then just over it like so. This is your first step of the locking mechanism, and then you just do it again, make it further, so it should lock it like, I would say, rock solid. Yeah, the same locking mechanism as the F-14. And from this side it should look like this. It locks firmly. And then basically just have to pop our intakes. Yeah, we enter the shaping stage. Basically you just need some tools to tweak it up. And go ahead and poke it like so. And same for the other side. Oops. Now we have the intakes, and now let's make our afterburners, or you can say the engines, whatever you call it. And what you're gonna do is to actually you notice that we have this flap right here that is being trapped. And we're going to do is to release this trapped layer a little out, like so. Just be careful, don't tear anything. And then flip it up. Just be careful. And pull it all out. Yeah, it should look like this. It should look like this. See, just be careful when pulling it out. And you do the same for the other side. Just free out this layer. And pull it out. Like so. So let's adjust this two sides. And these layers will be your afterburners. And what you're gonna do is to actually follow this point right here. And you just go ahead and fold it over. Like so. Same for the other side. Oops. Yeah, you should fold them like this. And after doing so, you just have to twist it and lock your afterburners. And same for the other side. Like so. And then you just use a pen or any tool like that and poke it in. Use this because this pen is a little bit too thick. Yeah, again, don't tear the paper. Be careful. Tweezers also work with any tool. Let's use the pen. So, yeah, you have one of your engines out. And same for the other side. Have this one engine here. Just poke it. And so let's do it a little bit further. And yeah, you can see you actually now get your engines being folded out like so. Let's adjust some of those details. Yeah, it should look like this. Now after adjusting your engines, you can actually fold them outward a little bit. And after doing so, we're gonna wrap them around. Unfold your intakes like so, and same for the other side. And then just wrap them around to make them connected and that boxy like fuselage to add some realism. Yeah, this is the same trick that I used on the F-14. See, you just connected your engines with your intakes. And then let's fold up this vertical stabilizers. And again, let's twist it. Let's twist the rear part a little bit, do some shaping to add some realism, like so. Oops, let's check it a little bit. Yeah, you can see the difference. It's now moved a little bit up. And let's do it to the other side. Fold this down a little bit. Then adjust the stabilizers after you shape your afterburners. Then final adjustment and shaping. And nice, you just made your F-15 Eagle. You have it right here. Yeah, it looks pretty nice and realistic. And actually, when flying this plane, it's actually the same as the F-14. When adjusting, you just have to tweak this two ailerons, this tail, and this part. You actually don't really have to adjust your wings, and actually it's a lot more easier to fly than the F-14 because we don't have those wing angle adjustments. It's just about throwing it and flying it. And if you actually finish it up, and you can apply some spray paint or something like that to make it preserve a lot longer and make it into literally a toy and throw it around. So enjoy. And what other planes you want me to make, just leave the comment below and let me know. Bye.